Welcome back. So if you're into mincemeat in general, you like to make burgers, pâte bolognese and all kinds of things, there is one French recipe that uses minced beef. It is called the steak tartare. And it's something I wanted to make for a very long time. It is raw meat mixed with condiment and that egg yolk in there. You mix the whole lot and you serve this on a plate as a cold starter. It is beautiful. Only problem, you have to buy the mince in the supermarket or the butcher and he's like, well, can I use this? Is it safe? Whatever. So instead of breaking your head and running around for these kinds of quality meats, the best thing you can do at home is to start grinding your own meat. This is something I haven't started doing for some weird reason, but I finally make the move like the grill last week. I've bought a grinder and we're gonna be grinding our own premium cut of beef and make a steak tartare. And I'm also going to show you that grinding your own meats can open so many opportunities and improve the quality of all your mincemeat dishes. Okay, let's go. All right, so let's talk about food grinding. This is something that I'm totally rediscovering, and it used to be done back in the days, at the time of my grandma. At home, you used to have this kind of attachment. You put this on your bench top, and you had all kinds of equipment. This, for instance, is for oats and other grains. Everybody's asking me, what is that strange apparatus you got on your bench top? You put the grains in here, you turn that thing, and you got freshly flattened oats for breakfast anytime you want. Absolutely brilliant. You can buy the same thing for meat, which is different. It's going to look different. I'm going to put a picture on the screen, which is just that hand meat grinder. Okay, that's one of the options you can have. Otherwise, you got the mechanical stuff. And this is because I've got a KitchenAid stand mixer. I bought that thing. It's full metal. And you know what? That cost me $50. A whole kit with sausage making, food pâté stuff, and it's full metal. And I've been thinking to myself, why have I been waiting so long to get that stuff? Because making your own mincemeat, honestly, it's so much better. So now, let's see why. Let's get grinding. So for this recipe today, we need to make a steak tartare that requires beef fillet. So I went to my butcher, I bought some nice beef fillet, I cut them into squares like this or cubes, and I'm going to feed them into the grinder. Typically in a restaurant, this is done by hand. But if you want to go for a grueling task of mincing all that meat by hand, you can, feel free. Since I've got the attachment, I'm going to do it with the grinder. Now the good thing about doing this yourself is that you know exactly what's going into your plate. I know that all what's going into my tartare here is going to be this beef fillet that I've got here, nothing else. There hasn't been any coloring, no additive, it hasn't been processed with other meats in a big machine that may have been contaminated, etc., etc. So it's also very safe. So you got top quality and safety. And in the same time, if you want, you can mix the types of meat. If you make a bolognese, for instance, you can mix like beef with veal, you can have pork with veal, you can have chicken mince, you can have lamb mince if you do Greek food, and you can make your own brew of mincemeat. You can put anything in the feeder there and get some kind of special burger if you wanted to. There's no end to the creativity, but the good thing is that you're getting top quality as well. So my advice, if you have one of those, you get one of those. Get a cheap cut of meat like a rump steak, make a burger. I can guarantee you that's going to be the best burger you ever tried. But now let's go back to the steak tartare. And let's put this into the grinder, see what we get. So as you know, or as you've seen on the channel, yes, I do own one of these KitchenAid like many people out there, and it just made sense for me to buy the attachment, especially when it was half price and cost nothing. But I cannot believe how long it took me to go to that decision thinking, oh yeah, am I gonna use that thing? It's gonna be complicated and whatever. Anyway, bought the thing, and let me show you what the barrier in my head was, thinking, oh, it's going to be complex, and what the reality is. Okay? This is where you put your attachment. You unscrew this, you remove this, you take that, you put it here, put it in there, you screw back, and that's it. I've got a meat grinder. I can't believe, like, this is one of the barriers in my head, thinking, oh, that's going to be too complicated. Honestly, I'll let you judge. All right, so let's do this. So sorry about the shot. It's kind of hard to get the whole thing in one shot here, but I'm trying to get this thing in focus here. So I've never used that particular attachment here, but I know that the whole thing is slow speed. And all what I'm going to do is put these pieces of meat in here, and I've got this attachment here, press it down, and then we're going to see what comes out. Look at that. Woohoo! How simple is that? This is gonna be the best ever mince. Oh yeah. Now honestly, This is the easiest thing ever. Look at this. I'm going to continue on mashing this with my fork because it's for the tartare, but I cannot believe how easy that is. And I cannot believe how long I've waited for that. Incredible. Now, just to keep with the tradition, I think I'm just going to use my knife and do a little bit of a hacking here. Wow, look at this beef patina. That is good mince. As soon as your meat has been minced, you're going to reserve it in the fridge and leave it there until it's really cold. And in that time that you're waiting, you're going to prepare all of the ingredients that you see here. Now, there are many ways to make a steak tartare, but today we're making a steak tartare in the style of Paul Bocuse, the way it's done by the waiter, like we have in France, in front of the client, and that involves a lot of ingredients. So look at this. What a beautiful table. Tabasco, Worcestershire sauce, you got chives, parsley, shallots, capers, gherkin, ketchup, mustard, egg yolk and olive oil, plus a bit of salt and pepper. That is gonna be tasty. So let's do this. For the steak tartare, we're gonna need a small bowl. We're gonna use a small whisk. You can use a fork if you want, but I think it's easier with a small whisk. And this is happening usually in front of the client. Okay, so all what we're gonna do here is first to use our egg yolk and the mustard. So we're gonna mix the egg yolk with the mustard first, a bit like a dressing. Perfect, so I'm going to be using my small whisk here. So what you do here, you break the egg yolks and you mix with the mustard to emulsify a little bit. And then we're going to start adding the olive oil, exactly like a dressing. So basically here, the whole game is adding all of the oil until you get that kind of thick consistency. Perfect. And now, once we're done, all what we're going to do here is to add all of the ingredients into our base. Wow, so look at this. I've got all the ingredients and you're going to finish off up to your taste with a few drops of tabasco and a few drops, not many, of the Worcestershire sauce or the English sauce, as I call it. And then take your whisk and you mix the whole lot. And that is going to basically represent the base dressing that we're going to use. When it's mixed, we're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper. I love when it's taking shape, so a grind of black pepper in there because it's meat, you know, it's like it's going to be raw, it needs some taste, some salt, I like something nice and salty. And then again, boom. Oof, 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 oof. And there we have it. So look at this. This is the base mix for the steak tartare in the style of Paul Bocuse. You can see it's a nice mix of herbs, shallots. It's full of fragrance. And now we're going to mix this with our mince that is nice and cold. So to do that, I'm going to take another plate, take the mince out, and then we're going to combine the whole thing together. And there we have it. So this is my mince that I've prepared before. I've made a little, you know, kind of a dent in here. So I'm going to put a bed of the dressing that I've got. And basically what we're going to do here, we're going to mix the whole lot. So you can go a bit at a time. If you don't want the whole thing, for instance, you don't have to. This is just a matter of mixing this slowly with your mince and to dress, so to speak, your beef. And that's going to transform into a tartare. So you can see like this, for instance, you don't have too much. If you want more, I'm going to put a whole lot because I didn't go through all this effort for nothing, but it looks beautiful already. All right, so here we are. This is the mix and look at this. Super fragrant. I love the combination. There's not too much of everything. It's really well blended. And I think, you know what? I'm going to try this. Wow, that's something else. Oh, the tabasco. Wow. Boom. Brilliant. Oh, the tabasco really makes it. Like, it, you know, you start to eat it and then suddenly it's like crunchies, you know, of these little shallots in there, the gherkins, and suddenly, boom, a bit of tabasco. And it's like an explosion of a bit of spice, but not too much, you know. Wow, super interesting. Such a long time I didn't have this. Now, I have to say this is absolutely impressive. And I think the fact of having grinded my own beef fillet in here, that brings such a clean beef taste in that preparation. It's amazing. And look at the distribution of ingredients. That recipe is perfect. This is like restaurant quality. Look at the shallots, the herbs and everything. And this is only what you taste. Beef and fragrant herbs and a bit of dressing, the olive oil, the English sauce, and the spiciness of the tabasco with the salt and pepper on top. It just works so well. So I'm gonna be serving this maybe with a little bit of salad. I'm gonna dress it up on a plate, but before, I'm gonna cover this with a cling wrap and put this in the fridge to make sure it's nice and cold. What a brilliant recipe. All right, I'm all done. So for the plating, I think I've decided to take a bowl like this, and I'm gonna use a food ring because I think food rings really, they are your friends when it comes to plating something neat. So you can put about 150 grams per person. That should be enough. Now, you know what? I wanted to have like maybe lots of salads and things like it, but I think what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna go with the simple looks and I'm gonna just use that sprinkle of the herbs that I've used. A bit of the mix of everything, but it's all about fragrance. A few drops of tabasco here and there, just for the looks, because I like it. And that's it. Salt, pepper, a bit of herbs on there, and we're done. And there we have it. So this is the Paul Bocuse style steak tartare where everything is mixed in, compared to some other version where you got the tartare with the herbs on top and you got the egg sitting on top there. I don't like that version at all because seeing that kind of raw egg yolks waiting for you. I much prefer this thing where everything is mixed in. It's a kind of a dressing and it works really well. Now to get the experience, you're gonna have to mince your meat by hand or use a food grinder. Grinding meats at the end of the day, it's gonna bring so much for you in your kitchen with all kinds of meat, not just beef like this, but plenty of other things. So my recommendation, if you don't have one, do like me, get something cheap and get grinded. But that's complete the video for this week. I hope you enjoy it and I hope you're gonna try that recipe. As always, if you have any question, use the comment section in that video. If you want to follow me, you can do so on Instagram, Facebook, you can become a patron on my Patreon page. And don't forget, we still have our online cooking school with our new course, Mastering French Sauces at Home, with an early bird promotion that's gonna be ending this week. So don't miss out. I'll see you all next week. Take care. Bye-bye.